later.
Thanks for the shout out, Jay.
Yeah, sometime today.
You're such a good partner.
Well, you asked me to do it, so.
2 of the top 4 teams in the West. You're hilarious. Meet tonight in Los Angeles. The Thunder can get a step closer to clinching that #1 seed in home court with a win. As you know, LA's really banged up. Luka is in Spain. He's getting an injection to hopefully help that hamstring. Austin Reeves missing the rest of the regular season with an oblique strain. LeBron is listed as questionable tonight with a foot injury, and we know they absolutely just got hammered by the Thunder a few days ago. Covering this game, our NBA reporters Dave McMenamin and Tim McMahon. So, Dave, let's start with you. What about LeBron's status, and what are the Lakers really looking to accomplish here in their final few games?
Yeah, Hannah, LeBron's listed as questionable, and I'm told this is truly a questionable situation. Sometimes the guy's listed as questionable, it's more of a game time decision, but with the extra workload that he had against Dallas the other day when they didn't have Luka and Austin for the first time, and the fact that this is the first game of a stretch where the Lakers have 3 games in 4 nights with Golden State and Phoenix coming up, I would be surprised if he's in the lineup. What the Lakers are trying to accomplish over this final stretch is clearly hold on to the #3 seed, first of all, and also try to find a way to play a defensive brand of basketball. The game got in the 130s on Dallas, in Dallas the other day. That was not their plan, but when you give up 40 points in the first quarter and you're playing catch-up, you're going to have to try to score. But when you're missing 60 points a night from Luka and Austin combined, you don't want to get out into a shootout. So the Lakers are hoping to slow down the pace, prioritize possessions as they work towards the end of the regular season.
Yeah, they're just a half a game behind the Nuggets. So right now they're in that 4 spot where they would meet the Rockets in the first round. Okay, Tim. OKC, obviously they want that top seed. Currently 2.5 game lead over the Spurs. Wemby is injured. We don't know how seriously. How healthy is the Thunder? What are they doing in that regard as we approach the playoffs?
Right, 2 wins away from clinching the top seed. Health is a priority for Oklahoma City. That's why Jalen Williams is sitting out tonight against the Lakers on the front end of a back-to-back. Obviously, he's had a rough season with health. That hamstring has he's hurt that on 2 different occasions. Want to get him ramped up and in rhythm by the time the playoffs start, but more than anything, they want him healthy. So he's sitting tonight. It would not be surprising if Isaiah Hartenstein, who's strained his calf on a couple of occasions this year, sits tomorrow night against the Clippers. But look, they are focused on health. They are also focused on continuing to build and develop the championship habits that helped them win a title last year. And again, they are 2 wins away from clinching. They hope to get that done on this quick trip to L.A.
Yeah, they really want to do that. They have had the Lakers number 3-0 against them, and we saw what happened last week in that beatdown against L.A. Dave McMenamin and Tim champion, and for the first time since 1989, it is indeed the Michigan Wolverines. Their tournament run, one of the most dominant in NCAA tournament history, averaging over 90 points per game in the tourney. The second highest scoring championship team since the tournament expanded in the mid-'80s. Only Larry Johnson's 1990 UNLV team scored more. Our college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg joins us one final time from Indy. So, Seth, I mean, the Wolverines might have gotten key plays at key times, but it certainly wasn't their offense that won this championship. They were held to less than 70 points. How did they kind of beat UConn at UConn's game?
Their size, their length, their athleticism. They protected the rim, they protected the paint, they protected the three-point line. The overall force that they played with defensively and the length of their defense was the difference in the game. And then they dominated the game in the paint offensively, 36 points in the paint. They only scored 8 points outside of the paint. They got to the free throw line. So their size and length and physicality was the difference in this game. And I also think the collective responsibility. You're talking about 5 transfers. 5 transfers, step in, trust each other, compete together, play to win, embrace their roles, and win a national championship. An incredible display. And I said this earlier. They played the NCAA tournament like 5 guarantee games. That's how good they were. And obviously a 6 against UConn. So all those schools should get their NCAA check and another $150,000 for the guarantee game.
Yeah, they punched punched UConn in the mouth. That's something the Huskies aren't used to seeing. And it has been such a good year for the Big Ten. I'm really glad you brought up the transfer portal because we saw what Indiana did in football. We've just seen UCLA win in women's hoops. So with Michigan basketball, what kind of template did they give us for what it takes to win a championship in this era?
I think first, you got to give the administrations credit for hiring the right coaches, whether it's Corey Close, whether it's Coach Signetti, or it's Dusty May. Then you've got to give those good coaches the resources. And that's exactly what they did. You're a Big Ten school, or there's a cost of doing business. And they gave these coaches the resources to be successful. Then those coaches have to invest wisely. And you think about Dusty May, I mean, he signed 4 guys in the portal last year, 5 completely, if you include Amari Burnett the year before. And, you know, all those guys had scars. Morris Johnson was hurt. And you're talking about Mara didn't start at UCLA. Kadosh struggled at North Carolina. But they saw something in those guys, and they got a collective responsibility and a trust within the group. And, man, were they a special team.
Yeah, Cadeau is really impressive, I thought, in the championship game. And, you know, Seth, listen, we all know that you know Dan Hurley well. I mean, what are your thoughts on the job that he did again this season? Once again, he reaches the title game for the 3rd time in 4 seasons.
Absolutely incredible how he brought this team along. But, you know, there's a couple of lasting impressions of me of this season. The first was them walking off the court with his arms around Solo Ball and Alex Caravan, and how emotional he was. Reading about him on the bus ride to the game and how emotional he was. But the thing that really resonated with me with him, the side that people don't see of Dan Hurley, is Dan Hurley and his team waited until the Michigan team celebrated and stayed on that court watching them celebrate to make sure they shook their hands at the end of a game. And that's Dan Hurley. He respects the game. He's a brilliant coach. I say he's a genius, but most geniuses are a little quirky. He's a little quirky, but when you get past all that, besides being a brilliant coach, a master teacher, a great educator of the game of basketball, he's an incredible human being. You see the sideline antics. You don't see all the things he does off the court, and that's why those guys play so hard for him, and that's why UConn isn't going anywhere. They're going to be back knocking on that door because the guy is a great coach, but he's also an incredible human being.
You know what else stuck with me? I kind of got a chuckle out of this. In his post-game presser, he was talking about the disparity from the line, right, which was considerable. And then he basically said, oh, those 3 referees, if they call every game for the rest of my career, I'm fine. So I think that
quirky genius.
Yes, exactly. Seth, listen, enjoy your much-deserved time off. It was a blast being with you this college basketball season.
Thanks for having me, Hannah. You guys have been so kind to me all season. Thank you.
This just into SportsCenter. South Carolina women's.
Following a developing story here on SportsCenter, Victor Wembanyama sat out the second half of the Spurs' win over the Sixers last night after suffering a rib contusion. As you know, he's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's an MVP candidate, second favorite in that regard, but he needs to play at least 20 minutes in one more game to be eligible for the awards, and San Antonio has 3 regular season games left, as we're joined by NBA champion and analyst Iman Shumpert. And this is, we don't know the severity of the injury, but it can be painful. It can take weeks in some cases to resolve on its own. Do you sit Wemby, Iman, and get him ready for the playoffs, or do you bring him in to play those 20 minutes to be able to get DPOY?
Well, thank God I'm not the coach, Hannah, but I'm letting him play, and that young man has worked his tail off to make sure that his team is in a great position. He has talked and been very loud about what he feels like he should be pursuing as far as individual awards. I think that San Antonio Spurs should reward him and make sure that he does that. It is a bruise, entirely. So I'm hoping that it's nothing too bad, that he can play through it, get his 20 minutes on the board, and then have a seat and get ready for playoffs.
Listen, if he's not at 100%, what does that do to the Spurs and kind of the makeup of the East going into the postseason, the West going into the postseason?
Well, I think that they've put themselves into a comfortable position. I think that he was only playing, the extra amount for the in-season awards. right now, the Spurs have put themselves in a great position to make sure that they can be where they need to be and match up with OKC for that final round if everything goes as planned. But the plan for Wemby and making sure that he's healthy, that's a guy that's a young guy. He's a competitor. He's going to want to be out there. I can't imagine a world where Wemby doesn't suit up, play his 20 minutes and beyond.
Yeah, obviously we know they have OKC's number, and they are 11-5 without Wemby this season. Let's go to the East. We saw the Knicks beat the Hawks last night. They got really lucky, surviving a near buzzer beater from C.J. McCollum. Jalen Brunson had struggled a couple of games, but he was really good down the stretch. Now they're going to be playing the Celtics this week. What do you need to see in these last few games from New York to convince you that they can make a significant playoff run?
Well, I was encouraged with just handling the storm. They've had issues with all the teams above 500 as of late and guys at the top of the conference that they've been playing. And it was good to see them get out there and do that, to see Cat play efficiently, to see Jalen not play as well, but then make sure that he keeps his guys close and at the end of the game take over the game and be the clutch factor that he normally is. The most encouraging part of it all was to see at the very end of the game, you finally got to see Jalen Brunson and Cat play their little two-man game. And I've been talking about that so much. I want to be scared of that. I want people to fear that. And finally they gave me a little look of it. It was a pistol action, some pinch post action, but it's him and Cat, and you got to pick a decision. Who you want to kill you?
Yeah, listen, that was a little appetizer, right? We need a full menu of that. A full menu.
I need a lot of it, a healthy diet.
Who do you want to kill you? Mon, we'll see you more on NBA Today at 3 Eastern. Thanks, my friend.